Well, thank you, Steve, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be here today with all of you, President and Mrs. Bowman, faculty and staff, honored guests, and alumni and friends. Homecoming is a wonderful tradition, and it's an amazing privilege for me to be invited to give the address to this distinguished group today. For each of us, when we return to campus, I believe we're reminded of the legacy that was left here by all the students that have come through this great university. I believe we share the sentiment that our college days were among the best experiences of our lives. No matter when we last set foot on campus, we are here because we consider Illinois State University to be a home away from home, and we appreciate the opportunity to reunite with friends and classmates, faculty, and staff. I arrived on campus yesterday with my husband, for me for the first time in about 10 years, and I was amazed at the changes and filled with pride at how vibrant the campus felt and to see how the university has thrived over the years. We had the opportunity to have lunch with some students from the College of Business and later to speak to a class in the College of Business. And the students were so impressive, so bright, enthusiastic, and energetic. I have to say I felt glad I'm a graduate because I'm not sure I'd be accepted today. They're a very, very impressive group. I attended Illinois State from 1977 to 1981. When I started here in college, Elvis Presley had just passed away a few days earlier. The price of gasoline was about $1 a gallon, and my beloved Chicago Cubs were finishing about 20 games out of first place. Well, there's one thing that hasn't changed over the intervening years. I thought I would share with you how my experience here prepared me and shaped me for life beyond college, and how I still carry the lessons from my college experience with me and the gratitude that I feel towards Illinois State. I grew up in a family of 5 children on a farm in northern Illinois. My family moved to the farm when I was in 5th grade. The farm is located in the town of Harvard, which is about 75 miles northwest of Chicago and just south of the Wisconsin border. It's known as the milk capital of the world because of all the dairy farms there. My parents still live in Harvard today. Both of my parents grew up on dairy farms in what are now Chicago suburbs, and my dad had always dreamed of having his own farm. I didn't fully realize the courage he had when he quit his job driving a concrete truck and bought a farm in Harvard and moved his wife and 5 children there in 1969. He became a full-time farmer. The lesson I learned from my dad was, find your passion, follow your heart. He never said those words, but he lived those words. He grew corn and soybeans, we had 250 head of beef cattle, and we had 5,000 chickens. And those chickens collectively laid about 4,000 eggs every day. Now, when there are 4,000 eggs laid every day, someone has to do something with those eggs. And that someone was me. My job was running the egg business for our family. So every day I came home from school, including when I was in high school, and I collected all of those eggs in wire baskets and then washed those eggs, candled the eggs, packed them in cartons, and sold them to our customers. We had a little store in a little room in the barn on our farm that was actually a self-service honor system egg store, and we had customers who drove in on the highway and purchased eggs from us. I also helped my dad in the field driving a tractor and baling hay. There was no ego in this work. We worked as a team, and my brothers and sisters and I learned the value of hard work and of contributing to the well-being of our family. I attended the local high school, Harvard High School, and graduated in a class of 164 students. Only about 10% of my high school graduating class went on to college, so that was not the obvious step to take. But I had decided I wanted to go to college, and I decided I wanted to attend Illinois State. My dream was to become a sports writer for the Chicago Tribune. I love sports, and I love to write. So I arrived on campus in August of 1977 and planned to major in journalism. I was the first person in my family to attend college. I moved into Watterson Towers. I was a nervous freshman. After I moved my things in and said goodbye to my parents, I thought, wow, here I am. I don't know anyone. I was away from home for the first time in my life. I was homesick, but eventually I adjusted. I got a job in what is, I believe, now called the dining center at Watterson Towers. I believe we then called it the cafeteria. I worked in the dish room for a semester washing dishes, and then for 2.5 years I worked in the cafeteria serving food during lunch hour with someone who became a good friend over that time. I have many fond memories of my time at Illinois State, and one of my most fun sports memories relates to a basketball game in the spring of 1978 when the Redbirds played Indiana State when Larry Bird was playing in college. And I believe at the time Indiana State was ranked number 4 in the country. The Redbirds won in a very close, electrifying game at Horton Fieldhouse on a Saturday afternoon. And there's a detail I've always remembered about the basketball team's uniforms. When I was a freshman, Gene Smithson was the basketball coach, and he had a motto that was printed down the sides of the team's shorts. The motto was expressed in 4 letters, MTXE, mental toughness, extra effort. I thought that was a great message. Work hard, reach deep to achieve great things. And I believe MTXE worked really well that day against Indiana State. That was big time. When I look back, there were valuable lessons about life that I learned at Illinois State, but one doesn't always recognize that at the time. I think these lessons become clearer when we're looking backwards. One of those lessons was this: find your passion, follow your heart, just like I learned from my dad. This happened to me at the beginning of my sophomore year at ISU. I took my first accounting class, I think it was Financial Accounting 131. My instructor was named Charles Schenkel, a big, imposing man with a great laugh and a gift for teaching and encouraging students. I found that I loved accounting, and I decided to change my major from journalism. So I went on to study accounting with professors who really cared about the success of their students, people like Joyce Ratio, Max Rexroad, Sharon Stanford, and Herb Sieg. And one regret I have is I didn't get to come back to thank Charles Schenkel for leading me into accounting, and he passed away before I took the opportunity to do that. In my senior year here, I did an accounting internship with the accounting firm Coopers & Lybrand in Chicago. After graduation, I went to work for Coopers & Lybrand. I started on the audit staff and then later transferred into the tax department, and also started a master's in tax program at DePaul University. Meanwhile, I met a very special man named Doug, who's here with me today. We met through a mutual friend who had been a friend of Doug's in college at Augustana and a colleague of mine at Coopers & Lybrand. We met actually on a bus over a keg of beer on a ski trip that my firm Coopers & Lybrand was taking to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. We started dating, and after about 3 months, Doug was transferred to Seattle, Washington with his job. I didn't think that was necessarily good news. However, things fell into place, and about 8 months later, Doug and I married and moved to Seattle together. Find your passion, follow your heart. Doug and I have now been married for 26 years, and we have 3 beautiful children. I transferred to Seattle with Coopers & Lybrand and completed a master's degree in taxation in Seattle. At the firm, I specialized in corporate taxation, and in 1993, I achieved what had been a goal of mine since joining the firm, and that was to become a partner. Then, just a few short months later, one of those follow-your-heart life moments appeared when I received an opportunity to join Plum Creek Timber Company, a forest products company which is today an S&P 500 company, as its chief financial officer. I took the position, leaving the firm I loved, to start a new adventure and to begin a new career in finance. That was in 1994. I enjoyed my new role, and I was with Plum Creek for about 5.5 years. In the summer of 1999, I received a call about an online retailer in Seattle that was selling diamonds over the internet. They were looking for a CFO, and would I be interested? I thought, are you kidding me? Who would ever buy a diamond over the internet? That seems crazy. Something inside told me to take the meeting with the founder and then CEO, Mark Vadon, who had formed this business out of his own engagement ring buying experience, where he felt that he had walked into a high-end store, looked at a couple of diamonds, one cost $12,000, one cost $17,000, and he said to the salesperson, I don't know which one of these I should buy. I'm not sure how I should think about quality and value. What do you suggest? And the salesperson said, buy the one that speaks to you. And Mark said, I'm not hearing anything. So I learned from Mark, men don't like going into jewelry stores. They know they need to buy this product, but they don't feel knowledgeable about the product. So he had a vision of creating a very different type of customer experience that would be online, where we could sell high-quality diamonds at prices that were 20 to 40% below the average jewelry store because of our online model, where we don't have the same overhead of stores, and allow customers to be empowered, research all of the information they would like to know about the diamond, all of which are independently certified. We have jewelers who customize rings in 3 business days, 30-day return policy, no questions asked. So we felt we could create a very different way for customers to purchase this product with a financial model that was very favorable to investors. So I remember leaving my first meeting with Mark, and I called my husband Doug and said, I might actually be interested in this opportunity. And I felt that while I had worked for 2 other businesses at that time, both of which were very well established businesses and had actual business models that had been proven at that time, that if I didn't join Blue Nile, I would always wonder what might have been. So find your passion, follow your heart. That was speaking to me. I joined Blue Nile in December of 1999. And none of us at the time had come from the jewelry industry. We thought differently, and I think we didn't know what we might have been burdened by had we come from within the industry. We found we were meeting a consumer need, and we found that consumers really did vote with their wallets that they liked this way of shopping. Most of our customers are men. About 85% of our revenue comes from men who are very tech-savvy. They like the no-pressure environment. They can do all of their research and not feel any pressure about this purchase. So we started to build our business. The idea was to go public in the spring of 2000, shortly after I joined, and then very quickly the capital markets closed down, and that wasn't going to happen. So we then had to figure out how to get the business to profitability with the capital we had at that time from venture capital firms. From the second half of 2000 through almost midway through 2001, Mark and I visited 90 venture firms across the country. We crisscrossed the country for about an 8-month period, looking for our final $15 million in funding, the amount we believed we needed to get the company to profitability. At that point, we had had $50 million of venture capital invested in the business. So we crisscrossed the country, and no one would invest, literally no one. People would say to us, can you guarantee me that this would be profitable? And I would think, this is venture capital. Who guarantees you that they can be profitable? And I'd say, but I believe this will work. I really believe this is a great business model. We said to people, name your terms. We offered a 4 times liquidation preference in the funding terms. Still, no one would invest. So we ended up with, instead of $15 million, $7 million of funding from our then existing venture capital investors, and we did get the business to profitability. We made $1,000 in the summer of 2001, and we've been profitable ever since. We became a public company in May of 2004. And in the 12 years that we've been in business, we've now grown to $350 million in revenue. And we are the largest buyer of high-quality certified diamonds in the U.S. and also one of the largest sellers of diamond engagement rings. Our average engagement ring today sells for about $6,000, which is twice the national average. And our largest sale ever was a $1.5 million diamond, very beautiful 12-carat heart-shaped diamond sold over the internet a couple of summers ago. So we look to continue to build our business to what we believe will be someday $1 billion plus. We're in a sector where what we're fundamentally doing is trying to change consumer behavior to purchase this way. Consumers don't just see an ad and become compelled to spend $5,000 or $10,000 over the internet. Trust is a big factor in what we're doing, and we have great referrals from our customers. That leads to more customers coming to Blue Nile. We have a team of 200 people, almost all in Seattle. We have a team of 8 in Dublin, Ireland, servicing Europe. Today, 15% of our revenue comes from outside the U.S. And with this team of 200 employees, we're small but mighty. Our revenue per employee is off the charts at about $1.6 or $1.7 million in an industry where if we were generating our level of revenue today and had stores, we'd have about 300 stores and several thousand employees instead of the 200 that we have. So a very different looking business model. I love my business and I love what I do every day at Blue Nile. And I feel that find your passion, follow your heart has really come to life in what I'm doing at Blue Nile. Now, remember the MTXE I talked about. That didn't strike me as much more than a motivational message when I was in college. MTXE, mental toughness, extra effort. Sometime after I graduated from Illinois State, and I'm not really sure when, MTXE seeped into my daily consciousness, not as a sports slogan or as a gimmick, but as a philosophy for life. It's been 30 years, it's hard to believe, since I left this campus as a college student. 30 years since I've seen those basketball shorts emblazoned with the letters MTXE, but it made an impact on me. It has stayed with me. It's been with me throughout my life and my career. Reach deep to get that extra effort. Work hard. Be determined. Follow your heart. You need MTXE when you're building a business that everyone says will never work, but you believe it can. My children in Seattle know about MTXE, and they haven't yet had the opportunity to step foot on this campus. We talk all the time about the value of hard work and determination. And when I think about it, MTXE was a part of my life when I was growing up on the farm and collecting those 4,000 eggs every day. I just didn't call it by that name at that time. This is another one of those lessons that is clear when looking backwards. And when I think about passion, I think about my dad. My dad suffered a stroke about 18 months ago. He's 81 years old. He's paralyzed on his right side, and in those 18 months, he's been in a couple different rehab hospitals, and today in a nursing center in southern Wisconsin, about 6 miles from our family farm. And he's been determined to get better, so much so that my mom is now renovating the farm home to allow my dad to come home to live when that renovation is completed. And I know it won't be easy, but today when my dad can come home for a few hours at a time, the thing he loves most is he'll sit on the patio in his wheelchair and watch my brothers combining in the field or driving the tractor and just looking out at the crops. So he really did always have that passion for farming, and that's home for him. When I was at Illinois State, I didn't dream I would someday leave the Midwest and settle in Seattle. I didn't dream I would be in the diamond business. I didn't dream that accounting would lead me to my husband and soulmate. But the decision to come to Illinois State led me on this journey. I'd like to say thank you today. I have a lot of gratitude in my heart for everything I learned at Illinois State. I received a great education, made great friends, and learned lessons for life. When all of us think about home, we often reminisce about things that have shaped our lives and have shaped us as people. The experiences we had while Illinois State was our home have played a big role in shaping all of us. So it's great to be home. Thank you very much. Enjoy this beautiful homecoming weekend, and go Redbirds.